Hey friends! In my last video, which was part 2 of July 5th, I promised a lot of fun stuff. I tried to record outdoors. That failed miserably. So I recorded indoors, and I realized that the 18-minute video that I had rehearsed in my head became 11 minutes because I left a lot of things out. All right, so now I've got to make that up to you. All right, first thing is the next video will be my mom's birthday party. And I have contacted the photographer that took a lot of pictures that day. And she seems willing to connect me to maybe something like a Google Drive. I don't know. I gave her my email address. And so maybe that will work out. So I'm not really confident yet when I'll be able to post the mom's birthday video. Okay, so here's the things that are missing from the last one. Number one, many things about Tim Keener. Next one will be these nicknames that I make for people and how they have stuck with them forever. And last will be my friend Sherry syndrome. And that's gonna be fun. All right, Tim Keener. When I first met Tim Keener, he was a little bit shy and didn't seem to really want to laugh in front of people. And so, a little bit standoffish, but a nice guy. Somehow I felt that after college, he's going to be the kind of guy that will be your friend forever. Most people probably wouldn't think that, but I knew it, and it's true. Okay, so he didn't really laugh often, and one time we went to a friend's house just to jam with our guitars, not really particularly play anything, but just go for a jam. And he and I were talking about how to load the car. And for absolutely no reason, I changed my voice to redneck. I said, I think we can get the amps in the trunk, and then you can sit in the passenger seat. I'll drive, and then we can probably get a couple of guitars there in the back. And Tim went, That was his quelled laugh. Now, he and I loved a band called Carcass. If you don't know Carcass, and as it got loud, he was laughing. He was honestly laughing. All right, so Tim is cool. Now, this nickname situation, I didn't explain it enough. Kirk Van Nest, easy to make the name Bird Nest. Now, Tim Keener and Ken Chang somehow kind of escaped. I really couldn't think of a catchy name that they would have for the rest of their life. I don't know. A couple times I called him Omk, O-W-M-K, one who's most keen. And that didn't really work. Ken Chang, I couldn't think of anything, but we had another friend named Jason Harmon. Instantly, harmonica. Okay, that caught on. My family name used to be Riggs. And since we loved Carcass and Carcass is kind of a funny band, even though it sounds like gore and stuff. They're actually pretty funny guys. And they used a lot of medical terms. And so I called myself Rigor Mortis. And I don't know how many people actually called me that, but, maybe a few. Rigor mortis is the condition when someone dies that lactic acid builds up in their muscles and they become stiff for a couple days before finally decaying further. So I called myself Rigor Mortis. All right, that's fine. Now I've got to introduce to you Sherry syndrome. Now, Sherry and I have kind of a weird history where we lived a minute drive from each other and never ever met. Because the edge of our property is also the edge of the city of Heath. So I went to Heath schools and she went to Lake something. I think it's Lakewood, something like that. And so we never met. I don't know how anybody figured out that she and I were going to the same university, but we ended up carpooling together. So, 2 hours to school, 2 hours back. We talked a lot and got to be pretty good buddies. But the weird thing is, she ran marathons and stuff. So in school, that whole distribution of subcultures. She was a jock and hung out with the jocks, and I was a nerd. I still am a nerd. And so we didn't really hang out at school very much, but in the car we were cool. And then sometimes on the weekends and sometimes during the summer, we would take nearly weekly trips to Columbus to usually go to eat or go to the campus area. There was Mean Mr. Mustard's, which we would go dancing. And I think the other one was called Crazy Mama's. We would go there too. And then not far away at 15th Avenue and High Street, we would go to Flying Tomato Pizza, where you could get, a single slice of pizza if you want. That was really, really good. They also had stuffed pizza. Okay, never mind that for now. Anyway, Sherry and I are good buddies. Now, the next thing is, okay, Malone College was in Canton, Ohio. North of Canton is miraculously called North Canton. Then there's a bit of space, and then Akron, and then further up is Cleveland. So it was pretty common for Canton Malone College students to go up to North Canton to go to a restaurant called Country Manor. Now, this place, I think, is kind of a rip-off of Denny's. It's like breakfast around the clock. Basically the same menu as Denny's, and I'm not familiar with Bob Evans, but it's possibly similar. Okay, so we went to Country Manor. At the last moment, I invited Sherry, and I don't really know why. I just suddenly thought, hey, car seats 4. Let's see if Sherry's interested. So after we ate, Tim Keener took 77 South and then 62 East. Tim was driving. Jason Harmon, who I quickly named Harmonica, was in the passenger seat. I was behind Tim and Sherry was next to me. I suddenly made a joke out of my own name and said, I feel kind of stiff. I think I have rigor mortis. And then Tim Keener said, I'm feeling pretty keen. And this is with no prompts, no cues. It just naturally happened. Jason Harmon said, I want to play the harmonica. And then I looked at Sherry. She was already laughing hard. And she said, I'm feeling kind of down. Down syndrome. I must have made this joke months ago and forgot about it. And she just knew that she was already laughing because she knew that would kill me laughing. And her timing was just perfect. Now, normally you laugh and then it kind of wanes and then you finally get over it. I laughed so hard that I couldn't laugh hard enough to get it out of me. I laughed for probably a solid 2 minutes before it even started to go away. Man, that was perfect timing. It was really funny. I don't even know if Harmonica and Keener heard what she said or got the joke or anything. They were probably like, what the hell's going on back there? In 2003, I had the opportunity to meet Sherry again when I visited USA. And her husband, whose name is Scott Jablonski. And I think they brought their very young daughters. And Scott just lit up and smiled. And he said, oh, Mr. Riggs, I've heard so many stories about you from Sherry. And at first I'm like, cool, wait a minute. I really hope that smile on your face means good stories. We had a great time together. It was fun. Now, 16 years later, at Mom's 80th birthday party, Scott and Sherry showed up. Now their daughters are probably old enough that they're working or, busy or something like this, so no daughters came this time. Scott did the same thing. He lit up and smiled and said, oh, I've heard Sherry tell our daughters so many stories about you. And I had the same reaction. I hope those are good stories. Okay, I can tell you one story about Sherry syndrome. One of our trips to Columbus, I don't remember, I got off 71 somehow, and we went to Broad and High. Now, this is West Broad Street and East Broad Street. This is South High and North High. So it's kind of like the middle of the city. On East Broad, I said, I'm going to turn right onto North High Street. Let's go all the way to 270, the outer belt, and count how many manhole covers are on the ground. Just for a goof. We did. It kind of didn't work because there was still enough oncoming traffic that we couldn't really count the ones on the other side of the road. I don't remember what the number was we came up with. Maybe it was 92 or 192 or something. It wasn't even important. It was just a goof to do something different. Can you imagine what kind of conversation she might have? Oh, you went out with a guy? What did you do? We went to a nice restaurant, and then we went to a movie, and then we ate ice cream together before going home. Hey Sherry, what did you do? We counted manhole covers on North High Street. Guys, if you want to stay single forever, think up stuff like this. It's worked for me for decades. And so then we went back to wherever we wanted to go. You know, Thai food or flying tomato pizza. Wow. Or Crazy Mamas, or whatever we wanted to do. And so she was kind of laughing the whole time a little bit. And I don't know whether she was laughing because it's like, hey, I'm hanging out with a nerd, or whether it was like, dude, you are never, ever going to have a girlfriend. All right, so anyway, that's my Sherry syndrome story. Now, a very, very good thing about the Syndrome family is Mr. Syndrome, Sherry's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Syndrome. Mr. Syndrome is the best storyteller ever. He can tell a story about anything, and it is absolutely hilarious. It's like he doesn't laugh when he's telling stories, but you're laughing. He's very factual. One time he got a kayak. I don't think he bought it. I think somebody gave it to him, or he won it, or I don't know. He ended up with a kayak somehow. And all I could think was, how can you screw up your maiden voyage in your kayak so badly? Absolutely everything went wrong with him trying to row this kayak. I don't know. It took him forever to get it in the water, I guess. These things are, 8 or 9 feet long, and they're probably made of styrofoam. You probably can't sink one, but I think he could probably find a way. His kayak story is gold, man. That is fun. Another time, he was, I think, at Lake Erie, maybe North Ohio or Erie, Pennsylvania, somewhere along the north, well, it should be the south coast of Lake Erie. And he and his friends found a baby shark that was beached, and they wanted to rescue it and put it back into the water. And somehow it suddenly jumped or whatever and scared the crap out of it. Man, the way that guy tells stories is fun. And I've actually asked Sherry to try to set up a camera or something to get him to tell that kayak story again, because man, that is entertainment beyond belief. Okay, so now you're prepped for the July 6th video. If I hear from my sister's friend with pictures, mostly still pictures that I can download, she said they're unedited. But being a Nikon camera, I'm probably gonna have to edit a lot. That's what she said she will do. But it's 8 p.m. or something in USA. And so whenever I hear from her, then I'll be able to make the July 6th video. July 7th video will be pretty easy. Then I can get these videos done and maybe take a little break and think about working on something else. So here's the parts that you missed. Take care, friends, and as always, be safe out there. Hey friends, what the hell am I doing with my helmet still on?